Now, it's common practice for WWE legends to make a grand return to WWE and embark on an extended run. In the past, legends such as Goldberg, Chris Jericho, and even Mickie James have all returned to WWE to have another run in the company. However, from time to time, WWE legends will make a one-time only appearance and it never leads to anything else. But which times were they? Well, join us now as WrestleMania looks at 10 WWE legends who randomly returned for one night only. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. Number 10. The Great Khali. Jinder Mahal's WWE title run in 2017 was interesting to say the very least. WWE decided to put the top title in the entire company on somebody who had just been a jobber for virtually his entire WWE career. Jinder's reign was hindered by his lack of credibility, and his poor pay-per-view matches with the likes of Randy Orton and Shinsuke Nakamura certainly didn't help the former 3MB member. One of Jinder's most infamous title defenses took place at the Battleground pay-per-view in 2017. Jinder would defend his title against Orton in a Punjabi prison match. The match is mostly known for the return of the Great Khali, who made his return after a number of years away from the company. Khali would help Jinder retain the title, and this never led to Khali getting another run in the company. His interference would never be really addressed on television, and fans simply had forgotten that it even happened. Khali would make one more appearance for WWE, appearing as an entrant in the Greatest Royal Rumble event in 2018, and this would mark his last appearance in WWE. Number 9. Jake the Snake Roberts. On January 6, 2014 edition of Raw, fans were delighted as Jake the Snake Roberts made his return after almost a decade away. Jake would return to place his trademark snake on the face of the Shield member Dean Ambrose, and although Roberts didn't get physical in his return, it was a truly wholesome return, especially for Ambrose, who was a huge Roberts fan growing up. Following his Raw return, Jake would then be inducted into the Hall of Fame during the WrestleMania 30 weekend by his lifelong friend Diamond Dallas Page. Although Jake didn't make any more major appearances for WWE, he did opt to sign for AEW in 2020, where he currently manages one of AEW's top stars, Lance Archer. Number 8. Tatanka. WWE fans were bewildered during the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal at WrestleMania 32 when it was mentioned on commentary that WWE legend Tatanka was in the ring.
Got Tatanka in there. Tatanka's here? Yeah. Oh, there he is with Diamond Dallas Page.
Tatanka didn't even receive a solo entrance, and fans could barely see that he was actually in the ring. His return made little sense, and Tatanka was simply wasted in the annual matchup. He would have received a great nostalgic pop if WWE decided to commit to a special entrance for the former star. Naturally, due to fans in attendance not having a clue that Tatanka was in the match, he didn't receive the fanfare he deserved, and this was potentially why WWE decided to not bring him back for any more matches. Number 7. Sid. One of the most entertaining storylines of 2012 saw Heath Slater feud with a number of legends. One of the biggest surprises of this storyline was the return of Psycho Sid. This would mark his first appearance in WWE in over 15 years. Sid would easily defeat Slater in the matchup, and although it was great to see him in the ring again, the fans in attendance didn't seem to know who he was. Sid would make a small reappearance at the 1000th episode of Raw, and this was the finish to the storyline with Slater, as it saw all legends that Slater had faced in the prior weeks confront the one-man band himself. Sid would never make another WWE appearance, but fans are still hoping that he gets inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame in the very near future. Number 6. Vader. When it was reported that Vader would be returning to WWE programming in 2005, fans were excited. Vader's stiff and often brutal wrestling style would fit perfectly in the Ruthless Aggression era, but sadly his return completely flopped. On the Halloween edition of Raw in 2005, Jonathan Coachman would reveal that he would have a backup for his planned match with Stone Cold Steve Austin at the Taboo Tuesday pay-per-view. This backup would be Vader along with Goldust, who were making their returns to television. In relation to Vader, he was not in any position to be anywhere near a ring, as he was all over the place. Vader would botch moves during his Raw return, and he would even fall out of the ring during the closing segment. But in relation to the pay-per-view match itself at the Taboo Tuesday event, the match would be changed to Coachman vs World Champion Batista, but this didn't alter Vader's performance. His performance didn't live up to WWE's expectations, and any potential contract offer wouldn't come into fruition. Number 5. The Honky Tonk Man. Cyber Sunday was one of the most exciting and innovative pay-per-view concepts that WWE have ever delivered. It featured fans choosing stipulations for matches and sometimes even picking actual opponents for WWE title holders. During the 2008 edition of the pay-per-view, fans were asked to choose between Roddy Piper, Goldust and Honky Tonk Man, and the winner of the vote would face Santino Marella for the Intercontinental Championship. Honky Tonk Man would win the vote and he would face Marella in a 1-minute match which ended when Beth Phoenix tripped Honky Tonk, resulting in a DQ victory. This would mark his last match ever in WWE, which no doubt was an honor for Santino. Number 4. Greg Valentine. In 2005, WWE attempted to push former tag team champion Rob Conway. WWE's idea to get Conway over was to copy Randy Orton's alleged killer gimmick. This was a gimmick that made Orton a massive star in the company, but the issue with this was that Conway was no Orton and the gimmick completely flopped. And to WWE's credit, they did put considerable effort into getting Conway over, and one of the ways they did this was by giving Conway a match with the legendary Greg the Hammer Valentine. One of the criticisms that was directed towards the match at the time was that it took place on Sunday Night Heat rather than Raw, meaning it was hard for fans to take the match seriously. The match would end in a DQ victory for Conway after Eugene interfered. The underwhelming match with Conway would eventually become Valentine's last ever WWE match. Number 3. Tommy Dreamer. Before Tommy Dreamer would make a return to television in 2015 for a brief return in the company, Dreamer did actually make a one-off appearance in late 2012. This appearance is often forgotten about, as it made little sense to why Dreamer was even involved in this particular match, other than the fact that Raw was taking place in ECW's home city in Philadelphia. Dreamer's special appearance took place on the December 17, 2012 edition of Raw, as he would team up with The Miz and Alberto Del Rio to defeat 3MB. Following his team's victory, Dreamer would be attacked backstage by The Shield, and this would seemingly write Dreamer off television for the next 3 years. Number 2. Sunny. A WWE legend, Sunny is often referred to as the first diva of WWE, and when she returned to WWE in 2009, her return should have been a huge deal. Sunny would return to the WWE at WrestleMania 25 when she competed in the Miss WrestleMania Battle Royal. Now, the problem with Sunny's return was that nobody received a solo entrance for the match, and this meant that nobody received the ovation from the live crowd that they deserved. In fact, fans weren't even aware that she was in the match until it was alluded on commentary.
Hey, you see what that is in there, King? That's Sunny! One of the greatest Sunny? WWE divas of all time! Where's Sunny?
It was truly one of the most lackluster and underwhelming returns in WWE history. This match would mark Sunny's last match ever and one of her final WWE appearances. She would eventually be inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame in 2011, but in the decade since her Hall of Fame induction, WWE have been keen to distance themselves from one of WWE's most influential female managers. And number 1, Rob Van Dam. The 2009 Royal Rumble match is mostly known for one thing, that being the big return of Rob Van Dam. RVD would enter the match as a surprise entrant at number 25 and he received an enormous reaction. The return was extremely special as fans have been led to believe that RVD had finished up his run in WWE back in 2007, so it was great to see him make a one-time only return during the Rumble match itself. There were rumors at the time that RVD's impressive run in the Rumble would lead to another run in the company, but this wasn't the case. A year after his Rumble return, RVD would decide to join TNA, and this would give the former WWE champion a better schedule that would allow him to recover from nagging injuries that troubled him throughout his time in WWE. Following his successful run in TNA, RVD decided that it was finally time to return to WWE for one final run. This would begin at the Money in the Bank pay-per-view in 2013 and would culminate in the summer of 2014. But there you have it, folks, 10 WWE legends who randomly returned for one night only. Be sure to leave your comments down below, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.